So you're seeing a man running, escaping the hospital.
Yeah, he was barefoot in a hospital gown. Luckily, still had underwear on because the gown was just billowing, like when Marilyn Monroe steps on the street grate, that sort of thing. And then there were 5.
Not quite the same effect.
No, not quite.
No, but it does make me want to go run the ARB in a hospital gown so I can have that effect.
Like when you twirl a skirt and it's kind of fun. And then 5 not-so-fit security guards ran down the stairs after him.
Awesome. And you witnessed all of this.
I witnessed all of it, and my first thought was, I bet I could catch that guy faster than those security guards can. And then he turned, and he had like a big bloody bandage all down his arm, and I was like, that's not my job.
That would have been my thought. Yeah. Looks like the security guards are either going to have to handle it, or we've got an escapee out.
Yep.
Yeah, and he was booking it.
I wonder if they caught him.
They did. When I drove past him. They kind of cornered him.
You saw a bunch of sweaty security guards.
They were not aerobic.
No, it was definitely not aerobic running.
Awesome.
And they weren't even really trying to like go down the stairs too quick. So, but he actually, instead of going towards the ARB, he went back where that road curves around to the hospital. So that's poor planning on his
poor planning, escapee.
That's right.
You almost made it to the forest.
Right. Why do people try to escape down the road when a cop's chasing them in the car?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I'd like Ferris Bueller through a bunch of backyards and stuff.
Hey, can you just say something to Midge and Zosh that were...
It's going to make Zosha like...
I know. Well, just let him know. Just say, hey...
Hey, Midge. We're going to record, so... Diane's like, so Diane, be quiet.
I'm surprised that Midge didn't say something to me today when I came to a class she's not used to seeing me in.
She didn't call you out.
No, she didn't. Sometimes she does.
Yeah.
I just look at her.
Kids.
I don't know what to say to children.
Child. You guys have some sort of mutual, it's like
we do.
Dog people and cat people.
Yeah.
It goes two ways. You can go into a house, and if you're not a cat person, that the cats usually flock to you.
Well,
or not.
I know mine do.
Yeah.
Mine can tell.
Like, oh.
They go to my father-in-law like just a beeline.
Yeah.
You don't like us.
My father-in-law has like a way with kids. They just... It's like Snow White.
Yep.
Oh.
Did that make sense at all?
And like, yeah, like all the forest, they're like woodland critters.
Yes.
Funny part about like
nowhere.
Snow White, when you go to Disney, the characters are not allowed to break character. Right. I didn't know that the first time we went to Disney. And so we go there, and the princesses are getting down, and they're looking at Midge, and they can't acknowledge, Nuffle Bunny is from a book.
Right.
And Midge was getting so offended when she would show these princesses her bunny from a book, and they're like, "Oh, is that a forest friend? What a nice rabbit!" She's
Bunny.
like, "It's Nuffle Bunny," and
it's funny.
Anyway,
all right.
So,
what are we doing
about
here?
escapees and princesses. Yes. We have a guest in studio.
Yeah, this is our new studio.
Recording studio.
Yeah.
We are welcoming Jess into our studio today.
Jess who? I want to see if you can get her whole name right.
Can you do it?
I don't know. I often say it with flair. Jessica Storrison-Carmean.
It's pretty close.
Oh, okay.
You say it.
What is it for real?
Storrison-Carmean.
Oh.
Yep. Storrison rhymes with Morrison.
So
Storrison-Morrison. And then?
Your name isn't actually just Little Jess.
Or Runner Jess.
Or Runner Jess. Yeah, okay.
I put JSC up on the board just because it's long.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So, welcome, Jess. Obviously, you are a member at TreeTown. I feel like you have been a member at TreeTown for as long as I have been at TreeTown.
I think so.
Were you ever at the old space?
I was not. I started...
so 4 years ago almost then.
Yeah. January... 2000.
So you moved when we moved.
Yeah, I was right after.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yep. I think there was still some stuff there when I started here. Yeah.
We moved in here in...
Is it like Thanksgiving?
Yeah, more December 1st.
Yeah.
So we only had a month without you in this building.
All right. So the how and the why did you end up here?
It's actually a weird story. I didn't know anything about CrossFit, except I'd done one drop-in class at a different CrossFit place in Ann Arbor about 2 years before I joined, and they said, "Hey, come do a free class on 4th of July." It was Murph, so that was poor planning on their part to get new members because I said, "Screw this."
Yeah.
And then I actually, you had done a Groupon.
Yeah.
And I saw that.
Yeah,
and
when
I
we
was
first
like,
moved, I was a little stressed out.
Yeah.
I was a Grouponer too,
Were
but
you really?
by accident. I didn't know there was a Groupon. I
You
found
gotta
you,
be-
and the guys that I came in with were like, "Dude, we have the Groupon," and I was like, "There's a Groupon for this?"
You've got to be the
Just
last.
whips her phone out
the
right
last
away.
two left.
Amanda Dyer was a Grouponer because
All right.
I signed
That's
up and
so
then
funny.
I sent her a link and I told her to do this. So
Cool. Yeah, and you're both still doing
Yep.
this. Sweet.
Aww, Groupon
What were you doing?
love.
What were you doing prior?
mostly running, mountain biking.
Yeah. Okay.
I want to hear about your biking a little bit that you did before, because you don't bike as much anymore as you run.
No, I don't. Just
Let's
for-
talk about your evolution of fitness.
So I was not, like, I didn't do sports or anything when I, nothing in elementary school, junior high, high school. I was on the bowling team in high school.
That counts.
Yeah, I had to have, it counts because I had to do a physical for it.
Yep.
Fair.
Yep. Okay.
And that was weird because it was back when you could still smoke in bowling alleys, so I had to get a physical to then go to this
Right.
school trip where people are smoking and
Sure.
drinking all around you.
Wow.
And then didn't really do anything in college, and then sort of like meeting my husband because his family's really active and he's really active, so it was like, well, you get to learn how to mountain bike, you get to learn how to downhill ski.
Awesome.
Oh.
I hope you're sort of adept at these things.
A little bit of a test.
Yes.
Cool.
Then just sort of evolved.
Yeah.
From there, we would mountain bike together. I used to do a lot more mountain biking with him before I got into running because I really didn't like running until one day I was like, I should actually give this an actual try instead of just running a half mile and saying, well, this sucks because
Right.
I'm winded and I hate myself right now.
Right. And
so
when was that? How long ago was that?
That was in late 2010. My first 5K was in like the spring of 2011, and then my first half marathon was in October 2011.
And then
then
I don't want
just
to
sort
skip
of-
too far ahead,
No.
but then 2018, your first 50 miler in the trail.
Yeah, that'll be this end of September.
Awesome.
Yep.
So, mountain biked, you ran, and then you started CrossFit.
Yep.
Why?
I guess with the running, it's hard to see improvement because you're either going to, can you go for farther? Can you get faster? There's only...
Two metrics.
Right, exactly. And I guess I was just looking for something different and saw the Groupon and said, I've heard about CrossFit because it was starting to get a little bit bigger then.
Right.
Yeah.
So I figured I would give it a try. And then I really, when you begin, there's so many different things that you can see
Improvement
Improvement
on.
in,
That's
you
what drew
know.
me to it.
Yeah.
Right. You can challenge yourself
Exactly.
in many, many different ways.
Right. If you're not,
Right.
seeing improvement in whatever lift, then you can look to any number of other things when you're starting.
Right. And what did you find with your running after CrossFitting, if anything?
I actually think I'm a much better runner with adding in
Right.
CrossFit. I've seen just like my endurance is better, my speed is a lot better.
How about your recovery? That's before I was CrossFitting, I was running a fair bit, and I'd get done with a run and I'd be kind of like blown out.
Yeah.
And as soon as I started adding CrossFit, I would just get done with a run and be like, oh, good, I'm done.
That's sort of how I've,
Right.
That's what I've seen
I don't know
it.
if I was much faster because of the CrossFit, but I just felt much better.
right.
Yeah.
Which is counterintuitive to think
'Cause
that
you
you're
think-
adding in, something that stereotypically is intense exercise.
Right.
And you would think that, look at the internet. People do CrossFit and then lay on the floor and die.
Right.
And then you're adding that on top of some sort of running, and suddenly you're like, but actually I recover better by adding in this extra bit to me.
Right.
So
Yeah, I
that's
think it's, just the ability to carry more muscle. You're more
Yeah.
efficient because you're just not working as hard when you're running now.
right.
And then with my, not necessarily when I do like a road marathon, but with my trail running and, super long distances, my 50K I did back in April, I was on the trail for almost 7 hours.
Ooh.
So I can't, you're not going to have fresh legs
Right.
the entire time. So
Right.
part of when I'd, get done with CrossFit and then immediately go and run, 5 or 6 miles, yeah, my legs are tired, but they're going to be tired when I'm racing.
You're used to that.
I
That
need
wasn't
to
a surprise to you when you did your race.
I need to have them used to performing
Yeah.
when they're already tired.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, we often say the same thing in CrossFit, that if you really want to get a skill that is reliable, so to speak, in a WOD, double unders. I can do double unders when I'm thinking about it, right now when the gym's empty. If you want to train your double unders to be efficient in a WOD, then stay after the WOD and do some double unders when you're tired, or muscle ups or something like that. It never occurred to me that would be the same for running, but it makes total sense.
Sure.
Yeah. Did you ever do any CrossFit competitions? I don't think I've ever asked you that.
I have not, but I'm actually signed up for my first one the weekend before my 50 miler. Because I make decisions like that.
Right.
That's awesome. Because why not try that?
Yeah, there's a couple of us. I think like 5 or 6 of us that are signed up in the gym.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, I mean, generally you don't have any trouble recovering.
Right.
Right. Tell me a little bit about, so your 50K trail run. I think you were in the gym the next day, were you not?
The next day I drove home and did a run when I got home, and then that Monday I was back in the gym.
Yeah, and you're like, I'm surprised.
I had actually, I see a lot of people follow on, Strava and different social media like that, and you see people putting in really high mileage weeks, 70, 80 miles and things like that. And my peak week for running 50K, 31 miles was a 42-mile week.
Wow.
I don't do very well on high mileage.
Right.
Okay.
So I'd rather have, I don't want to say junk miles.
Right.
I'd rather have quality runs over just, look at me, I ran 80 miles this week.
But, you're still getting that time domain of moving, right? Because you'll sometimes come to run before the gym a little bit, do your CrossFit workout, and then sometimes another run after.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, potentially there you've trained that time domain.
Exactly.
Right.
And, I know you've talked and you're starting to watch your heart rate a little bit more when you've been running. And are you finding that you generally stay, like, probably on average, even in your 50K trail run, like on average around, that 180 beats minus your age?
I was really, really close. I think I was a couple of beats higher.
Yeah, and remember, that's your most aerobic, efficient. You should be able to maintain that for quite some time.
And I've been watching that on, now with my 50-miler training a lot more. I've got some, like a slow run I do on Mondays where I have set my Garmin watch to beep angrily at me if I go over my 180 minus age plus 10.
Yeah.
And I found normally if it's a slow run where that's what I'm going for, really only, extended long uphills is where I'm seeing it.
Did you have to fuel yourself a bunch on your 50K?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's actually, a big part of training too, is learning, sounds silly to say, how do I drink water while I'm running?
Right. How often do I need to eat?
How often do I need to eat? What can I eat that's not going to wreck my stomach?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, we have to make sure we get you on our metabolic tester. We could give you some really great data to know exactly what fuel source you're burning and how often you're going to want to eat it. So we have to get that done for you soon.
Yeah.
Because you can add that to your training and your programming. So you can really dial that in before you do your Margie Gessick.
Yeah, because even right now, like for when I'll do my long runs, I find that I zone out. I forget to eat, forget to drink. So now, I make sure whenever my watch beeps for 1 mile, I have to drink something. If it's my food, I know a certain
you've become
schedule.
Probably very, very metabolically efficient if you have to remind yourself. That's generally if you're training or racing and you have to have a reminder.
Right.
You're probably becoming very metabolically efficient. So that's cool. That'll be fun to see.
Yeah. Or even at an aid station, just because I don't think I need something, maybe I should probably just have something anyways.
Right. Why not?
Yeah. Right.
Stuff it down. Right.
So on top of your running and biking and racing, you did Oli for a little while.
I did.
Let's talk about
a year. Yeah.
You dated Oli for a year.
Yeah, you were pretty much off CrossFit for a year. Almost.
I was. Yeah. I started when I first started doing Oli, I did CrossFit, still, but then I just found I was doing 5 days a week in Oli, and I couldn't handle having the CrossFit along with it.
You're also running a lot then too, right?
I was, and that's the difference I found between last season's training for the Chicago Marathon and doing Oli 5 days a week versus this year's training for longer distances and doing CrossFit is I'm able to keep up more on the weight training. If you remember,
right?
Last year when I was doing Oli, my squats kind of just went to crap. because my running,
much,
yeah,
right.
So much.
And I think just the element of maybe it's more cardio that you get in the CrossFit too.
When you had that much volume in running, it's going to fatigue your legs, and you're gonna see some.
Mm-hmm.
You weren't running like 30 to 40 miles a week. You were in the high end was for 40 for you, right? Mm-hmm. Which is a lot of mileage, you've said.
Right.
That's going to have an effect.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's a fair bit of running.
Mm-hmm. Overall, the CrossFit and the running have kind of meshed really well for me.
And you seem to still be getting stronger right now.
Yeah. I've had a couple of PRs since I went back to CrossFit late last year.
Especially like in the last 2 months, your movement patterns seem to have been like really fine-tuned, and you don't seem to have any trouble getting into positions. You're starting to catch lower. Squatting seems to be, with the heavy weight.
Sure.
What do you think? Do you think? I don't want to lead you in this question, but with all of the volume of squatting and pressing and everything that we do you think just the quantity and volume of reps is part of that?
Or just evolution of your training and how you are handling yourself more? Yeah.
What do you attribute it to?
I think it really did help to have that year to step back and go to Ole and see, everything broken down.
Sure. Spend lots of time
on
slowing down.
Reps and position. And now I think, like how yesterday we had the 5 sets of 4 cleans. And, I think it was Kate coaching. I had you looking at, am I actually catching these low? Because that's where my problem has always been.
Right. You would power clean everything.
I'd power clean and then I front squat it.
Pretend squat it, right? Yeah.
It was a real squat.
Yeah, I just think that you would pretend that you were catching at the bottom. I would pretend
that I was catching at the bottom because I knew I could front squat it.
Right.
I think the way we've been doing our strength training,
as of late,
has helped.
CrossFitting at a lower intensity.
Mm-hmm.
Can we talk about that for just a minute? Like the change from
since you have been here,
through it,
the whole run, how we used to do things, and then the evolution of, seeing those heart rate monitors. I mean, you've been back in the back room too, and then moving them into CrossFit, and then changing how we approach CrossFit, and for lack of a better word, controlling how we are responding and recovering from CrossFit workouts. Mm-hmm. We see the effects on you as an athlete, right. But how do you feel on that end, going from intensity to controlled intensity and recovery?
For me, the way that we're training now with, the heart rate monitors and really, having a zone or a goal to stay at, I think it works really well in my case. Mm-hmm. I remember when we had, I don't know, say like old style, regular, go.
Yeah,
CrossFit. Yeah. Oh my God. I've still got like a mark on my hand from the sevens. It's probably going to be here forever.
Oh, me too.
Yay. Twins. And, I could do the sevens and it probably wasn't as bad as it would have been if I had done it back when that was the only way we were training. But I do think that the more controlled style for me with
higher volume, more reps, a little lower intensity. Yeah.
And I'm able to come really often. Like most times I'm here 6 days a week.
Right. Which, if you were to ask me what I think is making the difference in your strength gains and why you're feeling so good catching low now is that reason.
Yeah.
Right. You're able to come, like there's no reason, you don't feel inflamed.
No.
Right. You're not stiff and sore. Like with the way you run at your heart rate at an aerobic pace, you don't increase inflammation. Then you come here and you have the same type of training, which doesn't create inflammation. You get a ton of reps, feel great, do it again tomorrow.
Right? It's the same stimulus across different domains that are feeding 2 different systems that pair really nicely together and help you be who you are.
Yeah, I do maybe like one. Usually one of my runs a week will be more of like a threshold.
Sure.
Like I did this week, a little more
tempo.
The stairs over at the med school, or I'll do something with some hills or
so about
a tempo run or something
like
that.
About 10% of your running or less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So you we want to talk about the van and some of your travels. And one thing that I want to ask, and I don't think I've ever asked you this either, is when you travel, obviously you guys bike and you run, and often your travels involve like going and running and biking in new places.
In just different places.
Right. Do you ever drop into CrossFit gyms when you're traveling?
Sometimes it depends really on how much things I have to take with me. We're actually packing the van today to head up to the UP for a week. And
awesome.
there's...
For the whole week?
For the whole week.
Right.
I know Max is... I'm going to go home and find Max, like, in the van somewhere. We open the roof box and Max is inside.
Oh, hey!
I'm coming too.
Yeah.
You might be able to fit on one of Tim's bikes, too.
Yeah,
so,
I'll just hang out.
Yeah.
I'll just train on the way up.
You know, so we've got 5 mountain bikes that are going to be coming up with us.
In that little van?
So there's 2 on the roof, 2 inside, and 1 on a hitch rack.
Got it.
Nice.
So,
and you can you sleep in there still with all those?
So we'll take what we'll do. So the next couple of nights we're camping. So we'll take the 2 bikes that are inside the van, fold the bed out, and then those bikes one will go on an empty roof rack and one will go on the hitch and get locked.
Got it.
While we're sleeping. Yep.
Interesting.
And how long have you been doing that? Like you bought that van?
We bought it maybe 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago.
And then you spent a fair bit of time getting it.
Yeah, we've had like 2 iterations of the first time we kind of outfitted the inside. We took it for a few test trips and it didn't work out as great. And now we've got a setup we really like.
Where's the farthest you've gone?
So we went over last Christmas. We got the van all the way out and showed it the Pacific Ocean. We went.
Cool.
Vans like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, we're kind of being rude. I'm assuming this van has a name.
Its name is Vincent.
I thought.
Vincent Van Gogh.
Cool. Very good. Very good.
It has an Instagram.
It does have an Instagram. Yep.
Well, do you want to plug it?
It is
for our 3 viewers.
Yeah, and one of them's me who's going to listen to this.
So it's everyone in this room.
It's us.
It is van_going.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yep.
Cool.
So there's lots more pictures going up when we're actually
fun
doing stuff, because my husband daily drives it to work and no one cares about that.
Oh.
So that's his daily driver.
Yes.
Pretty much.
Yep, because if he mountain bikes after work, then there's just a bike already.
Got it.
Already in there.
Nice.
So last Christmas we went out to Oregon, drove almost all the way out there in 2 days.
Oh my.
Which, hindsight being 2020, was not great.
You got there and we're totally blown out.
We got there and we were just like,
let's just sleep now that we're here.
And then it's also been out to the year before its first trip was out to Banff National Park in Alberta. So that was fun, crossing the border with a van with a bunch of wooden bits and stuff built in the back of it.
Right. It's funny.
We're just trying to get our Timbits.
And then this coming Christmas, it's going to go out through Arizona, New Mexico, out to California, and then back through Utah and Colorado.
Nice.
So.
Fun. Do you have family out there, or you just...
We just go.
Yeah, you just go?
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I like to plan, so I've got spreadsheets already and everything.
Will you plan a vacation for me? Because I hate that part of it.
That's my favorite part.
I just hate
if people still needed, travel agent.
We do. I pretty much just, whenever we have a vacation, I just get in the car and I'm like, I don't really know where I'm going. And my wife just says, just head 23 South or wherever we're going.
Oh, man. We tried that once.
I have no idea. She knows where we're going.
Yeah.
We tried we'll get in the car and go, and then we realized we had no food and we were tired and we're like, well, what now? We're in Georgia.
2 angry kids.
It's harder when you have to take kids along with you.
So you mentioned that you're a planner. What are some of your goals you're working on now? You have your big race coming up. So talk about that race. That race is intimidating in words.
So the race it's called the Margie Gussick, which is, I don't know which language it's in, but it's a Native American word, which I believe roughly translates to bad day.
Oh.
Which is,
I always assumed it was a lady.
Nope, yeah. not like Marjorie.
That's
no.
Funny.
I
think I assumed the same.
And bad day is what I'm gonna have fun. I'm gonna enjoy it, but it's gonna beat me up. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it is mostly sort of advertised as a long distance mountain bike race. There's a 50-mile course and a 100-mile course, which you can either mountain bike, or if you want to run, sure, you can sign up to run the same course. And it's point to point. Starts, I know the 50-miler I'm doing will most likely start in Marquette and end in Ishpeming, but they don't release the actual GPS files of the route until a few days before the race. So we've been going up and doing some pre-rides just on what the course was last year.
Got it.
For the mountain biking portion, I know there's a really high rate of people who don't finish.
Yeah, like
70%.
Right. It's less than 20%
DNF.
or something that finish, right?
Yeah.
Something like crazy.
Last year's race was really warm. It was about 95 in September in Marquette, where it shouldn't be that temperature ever.
Right.
And then the other sort of caveat is it's all fully self-supported.
Right.
There's no race aid
stations.
Right. That's not to say that there won't be trail angels, or the local bike shop won't have someone out there in the bed of a pickup with some, PB&Js if anybody wants them.
Right.
But you can't count on that.
Right.
So we're going up with a big group of us. There's about 6 or 7, my husband, some of his friends, who are either doing the 50-mile or 100-mile mountain bike, and I'm the only one who's running. And then we've got 2 of my friends coming up just to do crew for me, and another friend is meeting us there who's going to be my pace runner for the last 20 miles. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
What kind of time domain do you expect to be out there? 10 plus?
Yeah, it's definitely gonna. So last year's 50-miler, there were, out of the 7 people who signed up, there were 2 who finished. And the one guy did it in just over 13 hours, and the lady finished in 21 hours. So I'd like to be somewhere in the middle.
All right, so what's your motivation for this? Like, do you just want to challenge yourself, or is it just something like, okay, so when I see you training or exercising or moving all the time, right, I don't get the sense that it's vanity. I don't get the sense that it's some ultimate crazy goal. To me, it just looks like you're just enjoying life. And I wanted to see
like
it. That you just like to move.
I like it. It's hard to, people say, do you like always going running? It's like, well, no, I don't always like, sometimes I'd rather not have to go for a run, but I'm very good at when I make my plan, this is what I do. If it's raining, I go run. If it's, 90 and humid out like it was yesterday, I go run.
Right.
But I like the challenge. I like I said, I wasn't athletic when I was younger. So a lot of it is proving it to myself that I can do these things.
Yeah, cool.
So what's in your headspace, doing a run like this? I mean, it's not like you can just get off the treadmill partway through.
No, you gotta.
You've got to keep going. So what keeps you going?
Or you quit.
Well, right. But even if you quit up there, I mean,
you've got to call somebody to be like, hey, can you come and get me
this coordinate?
I'm here. Yeah. GPS is also mandatory for the race, like a real GPS, not just your phone.
Yeah. So how do you make it through these long runs? When you're unmotivated or you feel like you want to crash. What do you do?
I don't like, when I sign up for something, I like to do it. I don't like to disappoint myself.
Right.
And for me, what I found, the race is not always the hard part. Right. It's sticking to the training. Right. It's all the days you had to do stuff before that.
Right.
Yeah. A friend that was a runner, I remember talking to her about how she got into running. And she said, well, I was never really good at running. And her motivation was her family was really, really unhealthy, and she didn't want to follow that path. And she said, I would go out by myself after dark, and I would run driveway to driveway. Run a driveway, walk a driveway. And she's like, and I worked myself up to running 3 driveways and then walking a driveway. Yeah. Your standard interview of building up volume.
It's like the couch to 5K program.
Right.
Driveway to 5K.
She wasn't, you would never look at her and think she was, unfit or unhealthy, but she's like, that's what it took. And it was exactly that motivation. I wasn't going to disappoint myself and fall in. She's like, I never thought about not running driveway to driveway. That's just what you do.
Right. It just became part of her lifestyle. And
we interviewed Libby and we were asking her, like, how does she get through a tough WOD? And she's like, small goals, you're going to get up on that bar and do 10 pull-ups and then you're going to give yourself 10 seconds of rest. Great, you did it. Now what's your next small goal? I mean, is that how... I'm not an experienced runner. I want to be someone that can just, take life and be like, I'm going to go for a run and clear out. But it takes so much self-talk to run.
Get there.
Yeah.
So I know for my 50K, a lot of what I was, telling myself in my head was, and that was sponsored by, it was put on by North Face. There's tons of, aid stations and everything. So that's how I broke the race up.
Oh, aid station, aid station.
Yeah.
It was aid station to aid station. Because you think about it, I want a bigger chunk than just mile to mile to mile.
Right.
When you're going
that's
for
going to
50.
get,
Right.
So with that one, it was really easy to do. Okay, next aid station is in, 4 miles. I can go.
Right.
4 miles isn't bad. That's like just, I'm like rationalizing in my head.
Right.
With myself.
Hopefully under an hour.
Yeah.
Right. Potentially.
Yep. In the next aid station, there's going to be,
some cookies.
there's going to be
something.
some peanut M&Ms and a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And
the problem is when you start thinking about that right when you leave the last station.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. And then I would leave one aid station with like a handful of food and just like walk for a while to finish it instead of standing there and just having more time pass. Right.
Yeah.
So
if you walk fast enough and eat slow enough, food could last you a while.
And then I had my own food with me
Right.
too. So I kind of played that race. So the first half of the race, I only ate the food I brought with me because I knew that wasn't going to upset my stomach at all.
Right.
And then the second half of the race, once I was like, okay, things are,
I'll
start to, nothing at the aid stations was anything weird that I've never eaten before.
Right.
But I was like, okay, I think I can handle like a PB&J.
What's the weirdest thing that they've offered at a race at a aid station?
So I won't drink it because I don't like pickles, but they do pickle juice.
Yeah.
And there's like the salt,
pickles.
the pickles, but most of it is, it's peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, pretzels, M&Ms, Pringles. I was excited about that one.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Or like the boiled potatoes with salt to get that. Some of the longer races will have like cup ramen noodle or just broth just to get the salt back in you.
Sure.
Yeah.
Fun.
Have you ever done any sort of those, or not a serious race, like the beer mile or like the donut mile or something like that? Have you ever done any of those?
I haven't. I've done some, well, I guess they're serious. I've done some of the obstacle course races.
Oh, yeah.
But what keeps me from doing those is the fear of hurting myself. Because you've got to climb up and over, and it's like, I can climb up this wall, but then you've got to jump down the other side. And if I fall wrong and break my leg, then there goes a whole season or if I break a leg, there's a whole season of training because I wanted to.
Right.
But no, I've never done like the
donut. We were talking about the donut. There's a
Krispy Kreme one, which just sounds like me getting sick.
Well, there's I guess every weekend or once a month, there's one in Ipsy. When these guys run from Ipsy Running Company up to Dom's, they collect the donuts and then they run with them back. I thought they ate them in the middle of the
we could have one.
It's like a donut 5K, and then they eat all the donuts once they finish the run. And I'm like, well, that is fun, but that's not as fun as eating them while you're running.
Eat a donut.
For someone like me that's not going to run.
They do have one. It was maybe just a few months ago. That might have been. It was like a Krispy Kreme 5K or something like that, and you had to eat like one of the Krispy Kremes every mile.
I wouldn't make it.
No. It'd be so slow.
It'd be so bad. Have you ever done a triathlon?
I have not.
Interesting.
Swimming. Swimming is not my...
Swim like a rock? That's how I swim. Right to the bottom.
There's like... I can go into a lake or a pool and you can...
And not drown.
You can rest assured that I will not die.
Yep, that's me.
Yep.
Yep.
And I can get, from point A to point B, but there's no sort of efficiency or stroke. It's just sort of arms and legs flailing and hoping for forward movement.
I like to pretend. I like to pretend that I'm actually, doing a stroke of some sort.
You feel really cool because you think you're doing look good.
No, but I am sure it's like Phoebe on a bike, right, from Friends, or Phoebe running. Remember that episode? I'm pretty sure that's what I look like.
It's
in
like
the water.
when you, if you ever do a race and you see like the race photographer up ahead, and you're like,
Right.
I'm gonna I'm gonna smile and
the
like
1,000-mile
I'm gonna
stare.
cheese it up for this guy, and then you
Right.
see your race pictures, and I'm like, I look like that's
that?
what I look like.
That's it.
Right.
And people see me, and that's what I look like.
That's funny.
So after your Margie Gessick that's coming up, what's after that?
After that, I'm doing the Detroit Free Press International Half. So that weekend, that's
Is it bridge or tunnel?
both.
Oh,
Yeah.
I hear the tunnel's pretty gross.
It's really sticky. It's like really humid, and they say if you look at your splits, usually the tunnel is your fastest because you just
Get out of
want
there.
to get out of there. So there, I'm doing one of their like challenge race weekends. So Saturday, I'm doing the 5K and the 1 mile, and then Sunday I'm doing the half.
Some like a triple.
Triple challenge
Nice.
thing.
Fun.
So
What's like, you've got the ultra now planned. Long term, big picture, where do you want to go with your fitness next? Like, that's why I asked about triathlon. Like, is a triathlon in your future? Like, you're always seeking that next adventure. What's the next adventure going to be?
When's the Ironman?
the swimming is something I don't know about. I need to actually I feel like I need to get lessons.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah. Well, we could take lessons together.
Yeah.
Like adult swimming.
We probably should just do like a TreeTown swim lesson with, like,
Sam.
we'll have Sam teach us or
Sam
something.
and
Alex, yeah.
We'd probably have a lot of people that would want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You just go for a day out at like Pinckney.
Yeah.
You know.
It would take more than a day.
I mean, yeah.
I've been trying to figure this out for years.
Yeah. And I've got friends who, and Jonathan here does triathlons, and a lot of people do the sprints. Maybe I looked at doing like a duathlon before, because I could do the run and the bike. That's not the problem area.
One of the funnest things that I've done the off-road duathlons.
Okay.
And those were fun, right? You're out in the woods and, and I've done some off-road triathlons too, but I'm so far behind out of the water that it's a bit of a disaster.
Just my own personal race. It's just me by myself.
Totally. I'm not really racing anybody.
For a nice day.
Totally.
That would be me.
Right?
Yeah.
Just say my triathlon would be if I go for a run, go for a bike ride, and then take a shower when I get home. Is that the swimming part?
Is that the swimming? I'll shower in the bathtub.
I'm gonna put a prediction here. Within 5 years, Jessica's done an Ironman.
We'll see.
Yeah. Just
sometimes I keep looking at I say, okay, we'll see how this 50 miler feels, and that'll determine like
if I do the 100 next time.
If I do, now, maybe not even at that race, but they do the one out here at Pinckney for Woodstock,
right?
Things like that.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, I get it in my head that it'd be really cool to work on my speed and take 2 years and see if I can
do a fast 5K
or like Boston
or
qualify. But I feel like I would need to really step up my speed work game on that one because I'm not close. So
yeah, it's hard to say. But you just
in a few years I'll be older and I'll get an extra 5 minutes tacked onto the qualifying time. So
well, you've been like running for 6 years.
Yeah.
So your running training age is still relatively young,
right? Because I didn't there was no like track or anything like that. So I think part of me is lucky because I didn't like burn out.
Right.
My brother played in high school.
My brother played hockey, and when he got into high school and college hockey, he was still full into it. I mean, he loved it. And he said, my teammates been playing since they were 4. And he goes, they're just over it. Done. They played for too long, and they don't have the love of the game anymore. And he's like, it's still fresh to me.
Yeah.
And that made a big difference, I don't think in his overall playing ability necessarily, but it definitely kept him,
excited about it.
Love with the game, and he still plays now in the city.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I've had a couple of, this year and last year I did a lot of races. The year before I kind of stepped back, just didn't do quite as many. Did some that I do every year, but wasn't, as focused on it. So it goes in waves a little bit. But
sure.
I think before I had always, known about the ultra marathons, and I always put it on this sort of a pedestal of, you see these people who do it, and it's, the 6.5 foot tall guy who,
right.
weighs 105 pounds and runs like a gazelle.
And he's obviously a psychopath.
Right.
Well, yeah. Clearly.
He's running from something.
Right.
Maybe it's the hospital.
Yeah.
Oh, that guy.
We brought the whole interview back around.
Back full circle.
Nice job.
It's a gift.
Yeah. And then, last year, my husband was doing the 50 miler up at the Margie.
On his bike.
And they have what they had was a 15-mile kids race. So I signed up to run 15 miles because that's what my training plan had me doing anyway. So I was cool, I'll do that. And I ended up...
and they let you do it because, you do look relatively young.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a fun game. Guess Jess's age.
I know.
Yeah.
I really want to go to Cedar Point where they... and see how many of them I can fool until they tell all the rest of the workers,
right.
like, no.
Yeah.
Isn't it Andy that's really good at guessing age?
I think it's weight that Andy's
it's
really
weight.
good at.
It is weight. You're right.
Like fantastic at
Yeah, check you out.
Yeah. That's right. We did have fun with that one day. It was awkward for everyone.
But that sort of helped me figure out that, because I was on the same course as people who were running the 50 mile. And of course, it was all not regular, normal people. It wasn't just like these running all-stars who live in the woods that I thought of. And I was like, oh, well, I can do this.
It made it real.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
Awesome.
So I think that might be how some people feel when their only exposure to CrossFit is maybe what they see on ESPN once a year for
the games.
Right.
That's one of my favorite questions to ask when new people come through the gym. And
what do you know about what you're about to do?
Right, like what did you watch Netflix to then why did you come in here? Right. I've actually had one person that she saw CrossFit on Netflix and she was like, I want to be like that. And she was far from it, as all of us are. And came in and put in the time and work and found she loved it.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Same thing with running. All right. Thanks, Jess.
You're welcome.
It's nice having you.
Thanks, Jess. That was awesome. Thanks for sharing your
This
stories.
was a lot less nerve-wracking than I had initially thought it was.
So just like CrossFit's nothing to be afraid of.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. If they ask you to interview, don't be scared of them.
Kate's got such a soothing voice, right? She's just like, let's just come sit down, have a nice time.
Just listen to me talk even more.
Right. We'll try to shut Max up. He has an annoying voice. So listen to Kate. Awesome. Thanks, Jess, for doing this. It was great. Appreciate it.
The end.
And
we're done.
That's always awkward. Yeah.
Totally.
Like, how do I end this?
Starting and the ending.
That was great, Jess. Awesome. That was fun. We didn't really ask Jess about her